Hey guys, Level Cap here, and today we're going to go over everything we know about Cyberpunk 2077. Let's start off with the basics. Cyberpunk 2077 is an upcoming sci-fi FPS RPG game developed by CD Projekt Red, the same people that made The Witcher 3. It'll be fully open world and set in the dystopian urban sprawl of fictional Night City, California. It's being adapted from the tabletop game Cyberpunk 2020, written by Mike Pondsmith, who is serving as a consultant on 2077's world and mechanics. Players will assume the role of V, a mercenary that you can customize to your liking. Options will include things like facial features, clothing, and gender. Players will also have access to a full complement of stat categories, giving you deep control over V's strengths, weaknesses, and abilities. You'll be able to upgrade V's abilities with cyberware implants that are purchasable from various NPCs throughout Night City. The NPCs are called Ripper Docs. Certain upgrades, such as arm blades, will give V new abilities, like the ability to climb on, run on, and attack from walls. V's standard abilities include taking cover, double jumping, sliding, and a bullet time-like effect that slows down the combat around him. When it comes to weapons, Cyberpunk 2077 will offer players a wide arsenal of guns to choose from. They're broken up into three categories: power, tech, and smart. Power weapons will be your typical shoot, bang, bang type guns. Tech weapons can penetrate cover and enemies, while smart weapons will include things like homing bullets. They can all be customized and upgraded. In addition to this, there's 4 damage types: physical, thermal, EMP, and chemical. Just like with cyberware implants, weapons must be taken to NPCs called gunsmiths to repair or upgrade. Now, guns are not the only way you can engage enemies. There's also a wide variety of melee weapons. Not much is said about the game's melee combat system yet, aside from the fact that it will build on the lessons learned by developers following The Witcher 3's release. Melee weapons will likely offer the same categories and damage types as guns. You will also be able to take consumables in the form of drugs that temporarily boost your abilities. Hacking will also play a big role in combat, allowing you to do things like hack the enemies from shooting their guns or even communicating with each other. I'm sure a lot of other cool features will be mentioned later. You'll also have a in-depth Mass Effect style speech system that influences the outcome of character interactions depending on what you say. Failing a speech check can lead to combat or even worse outcomes, while passing it can resolve the situation peacefully. Now, the massive open world of Night City is broken up into 6 distinct areas, each with unique NPCs, buildings, missions, and more. The 6 districts are as follows. There's a corporate area called City Center, then we have an immigrant area called Watson, an upscaled high society place called Westbrook, we have a suburbia called Haywood, a gangland area called Pacifica, and the industrial area called Santo Domingo. To navigate the city, players can use a wide range of vehicles, including cars, trucks, motorcycles, and autonomous cars that drive themselves. Many vehicles will feature the ability to drive them from first or third-person views. Night City also has a fully autonomous public transportation system. All the public trains, buses, and cars can communicate with each other. There will also be flying vehicles, but players won't be able to drive them. Another feature that's becoming more and more commonplace with these big, massive open world games is that there won't be any loading screens when traveling throughout the city. Now, when it comes to the world and making a place for you in it, you can buy an apartment in Night City that can serve as a base for storing weapons, changing clothes, and romancing NPCs. You can actually buy multiple apartments if you would like. Completing main quests and side missions will reward you with XP, skill unlocks, new vendors, areas, and more. The choices you make will affect the game's ending, leading to a branching storyline with different outcomes. The persistent world will also feature a full day-night cycle complete with dynamic weather. CD Projekt Red are working on a multiplayer component for the game as well, but it likely won't launch until after the game's release, provided that they release it at all. It's currently in the R&D phase. The game is being designed as a single-player experience first and foremost. Any multiplayer aspects will probably be separate from the main story experience. Now obviously there's a ton of cool details and features, but when can we actually expect to play Cyberpunk 2077? Well, according to CD Projekt Red's president, the current build of the game is in pre-alpha. This is the version that was shown behind closed doors at E3 in an hour-long demonstration. The demo is taken from the most polished area of the game built so far and was prepared specifically for showing the game to media. It's likely a version or at least part of that demo will be shown to the public during Gamescom this year in late August. The actual game is unfortunately probably about a year or even 2 years away from release. As for the content of the demo, several media outlets have described it in detail. Full audio of the presentation has also been leaked. That audio was quickly taken down from various websites hosting it. Of course, we downloaded it and reviewed it before it disappeared. Key points from the recordings are as follows. The gameplay demo was done live, not as a pre-recorded video. The game takes place in an alternative timeline version of America where mega corporations run basically everything. This is certainly the foundation of many other cyberpunk-themed worlds, including Ready Player One. Customization options have an impact on the way NPCs interact with you. Your clothing can make NPCs more or less hostile towards you. There is no class system. Your skills and abilities are fluid and dictated by how you upgrade your character over time. The demo also takes place early in the game's storyline, while some of the missions have you team up with other NPCs that can help you fight through multiple enemies. When it comes to the technical information, the demo was running on a high-end PC equipped with an Intel 8700K CPU and NVIDIA's GTX 1080 Ti GPU. Both of these are very high-end pieces of hardware currently. Some media outlets have reported that it was running at 4K, but CD Projekt Red's community lead clarified that it was only running in 1080p. Eurogamer stated the demo seemed to be running at a capped 30 frames per second. They also noted graphical settings varying between the versions of the trailer uploaded to YouTube by CD Projekt Red and the one uploaded by Microsoft. It's not 100% clear on why the footage differs right now. My guess would be so that they don't get themselves into some hot water if the game doesn't look quite as good on the console system versus PC system. They don't want to mislead with trailers that look really good or that trailers that are showing PC gameplay versus console gameplay. Right now, the game is releasing on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Now, generally speaking, when companies show off their demonstrations of their games, they're usually working with a vertical slice, which is the dev team finalizing one section of the game as far as they can to basically show how good it can be or how it performs. This was not a vertical slice. This was the current development build of the game, meaning there's tons of unfinished assets and features, leaving some of the people who attended the event slightly less impressed. This is not a big surprise. It's sort of like walking into a white box version of a game. Obviously, it's not going to impress when you see something half finished. Now, looking back at the trailer, it's likely many elements of it were shown specifically as hints about the gameplay. The opening shot of the Night City public transit map likely has something to do with the actual Night City map and fast traveling. In The Witcher 3, fast traveling was done by going to signposts throughout the world and picking your destination. Cyberpunk 2077 will likely feature a similar system that utilizes the public transit. The animation quality also suggests that it could be some kind of in-engine cutscene that plays as part of the transition between areas to hide the game's loading in the background. The next shot of the player leaving a building is likely what players can expect when exiting their apartment. This is also one of those scenes that showcase different visual qualities between the Microsoft and developer uploads of the trailer. The scene with the pool table shows the trajectory of the billiard balls as the characters interact with them. Guns with their ricochet targeting ability function in essentially the same way, showing your bullet's path as it bounces off the environment. The unfolding bot seems to have appeared in the gameplay demo as some kind of companion or assistant in missions. The trauma team reviving an overdosed NPC appeared in the gameplay demo, picking up a person of interest during a mission. The basketball player's augmented jumping ability ties into V's double jumping. And finally, a character is shown pulling another NPC's eye out, which might indicate some kind of scavenging ability. All things considered, Cyberpunk 2077 is shaping up to be an absolutely massive title. It's hard to say how deep the actual gameplay will be. A good estimate would be something like the Deus Ex franchise, but on a bigger scale. Players will probably have a ton of control over when and how they complete missions, with tons of side quests and mini missions scattered throughout the world to complete. In The Witcher 3, a typical side quest would go from a simple request to slay a monster to a deep look at how the local people have invaded the monster's territory and are considering offering human sacrifices to keep it at bay. CD Projekt Red have made a name for themselves by building story quests that could be an entire game on their own. 2077 will likely have plenty of such missions. As for DLC and microtransactions, a hidden message in the E3 trailer ruled out microtransactions and confirmed players can expect free post-launch DLC like the developers have done in the past. Hopefully we'll get a deeper look at Cyberpunk 2077 during Gamescom. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this deep dive into the biggest upcoming sci-fi title announced at E3 this year. Let us know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Levelcap, signing off.